morning, everyone. I'm Steve Cohen. I'm the chair of the English department and president of the Faculty Senate. It's my pleasure to welcome you all back, or back for the first time, to the new academic year. So welcome. We've got, I think, an exciting year ahead of us. In addition to all the usual challenges and adventures, we're going to be looking at the reform of general education in the coming months, and of course, the Transform CSCU 2020 process that's designed to take our 17 schools, community colleges, state universities, and Charter Oak and unite them into one large system. We'll be having a couple of open fora to discuss the general education proposals that'll be coming out in a few weeks probably. They'll be in September and October, but I particularly want to draw your attention to a town hall meeting that's going to take place on September 9th, Tuesday, September 9th, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock in Torp Theater to discuss Transform CSCU 2020. President Gray will be there, I believe, and some members of the Board of Regents and other dignitaries and folks from the system office. And I'd really like to encourage you all to put it on your calendar, come, listen, ask questions, and make sure the folks who are there know that we want to be active participants in the discussion leading up to Transform, as well as the folks who are going to be asked to implement it. So, September 9th, 3 o'clock. Before we look to the future, however, I'd like to ask you to join me briefly in a moment of silence to remember those of our colleagues and friends who have passed away in the last year. Thank you. Without further ado, it's my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Jack Miller.
Thank you, Professor Cohen. Let me add my words of welcome to those that you just received from Stephen, and to say to those of you that are new, I met a number of the new faculty yesterday and have met the new students across the summer. Welcome for the first time to the opening of an academic year. And to those of you that are returning to the campus, or to those of you that have been here all along across the summer, my words of welcome to you as well. And I'd like to extend a special word of welcome to the president of our system of the Connecticut State Colleges and University System, Dr. Gray. Dr. Gray, we want you to stand up and let everybody recognize you. Thank you for being here. As always, we begin this meeting with the award of our Distinguished Service Award. It's always a pleasure to begin the opening meeting that way. This year's honoree has often joked that his mother wanted him to become a professional pianist, but because he possessed no talent for it, he decided to become a scientist instead. We're thankful for his decision. It eventually led him to CCSU, where he has dedicated himself to significantly improving the academic, campus, and community culture. And I want to emphasize that word culture today, because we're going to come back to it time and time again during our presentation to talk about the culture of success on this campus. So I ask Dr. Zisław Crimmins, Dean Emeritus of the School of Engineering and Technology, to please join me. Upon being hired as Dean of the School of Technology, Dr. Cremins inherited a frustrated faculty, but overcame many obstacles both on and off the campus. He helped to establish the School of Engineering and Technology, putting it solidly on the path to becoming a comprehensive school of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The school began thriving under his visionary governance. He was open to new ideas. He worked tirelessly with his faculty and staff to attain many firsts for CCSU. Among them, the first Bachelor of Science programs in mechanical and civil engineering. And not long after that, licensure and national accreditation for these two programs. He embraced the idea of expanding the school to include biomedical engineering program, bringing science into the mix. Described by one of his colleagues as having an infectious passion for the school, Dean Cremins hired faculty known nationally and internationally. He got involved with the school's industrial boards and inspired great companies such as Wheelan Engineering to expand and support in their involvement with CCSU and for CCSU. He worked to create seamless pathways in engineering and technology between the community colleges and CCSU. His top priority has always been to provide our students with an excellent and affordable education, and he was especially passionate about establishing programs that provided access to college to students who might not otherwise have been able to attend. These are just a few of the highlights of Ziswav's career here at CCSU. So Ziswav, for your outstanding contributions to building a vital part of this university, your dedication to service to students, colleagues, professional organizations, local and state and international communities, I'm pleased to present you with the 2014 Distinguished Service Award. Want the money?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
All right, be careful. Steps, huh? In addition to all those accolades, I also consider Ziswav to be a very dear and close personal friend who's done an amazing amount for the university. Today during our presentation, I'm going to try to get across 5 major topics. First of all, as we generally do at this meeting, I want to talk about the goals accomplished during the last year. Some of the high water marks for the university, some of the things of which we're most proud. I want to talk, secondly, about some of the things where we need to continue our efforts, more work to be done yet. Third, I want to discuss Transform CSCU 2020 as an important part of the many overlapping goals upon which we are working. Fourth, I want to examine our progress specifically on one topic, which is on enrollment, which we have been discussing since this meeting last year. And finally, I want to finish with a presentation from some of our students on a new initiative, part of our efforts to continue to increase that enrollment. So let us begin with some of the accomplishments. And I would have to say that this last year, and I'm now I'm in my 10th year, was nothing short of a great year. There were so many excellent things that occurred. And it's befitting an institution like this to have those great things occur because of the culture of success that all of you have helped to create. So we had a great year, and maybe here's a few of the things just to remind ourselves of how great it was. We welcomed President Barack Obama to campus, and he joined Governors Dan Malloy, Deval Patrick, Peter Shumlin, and Lincoln Chafee, as well as U.S. Labor Secretary Thomas Perez, and the President gave a major policy speech here on minimum wage. And I want to think, that all happened in 7 days' notice. 7 days before he spoke, we didn't know he was coming. And so, my sincerest thanks to Richard Bayshew, Mark McLaughlin, Janice Palmer, Scott McKenna, and Sal Santorino for all the work that all of them did to put together an excellent day for Central. The Institute of Education, in their Open Door report, ranked CCSU 17th in the nation for the short study abroad academic programs and the number of students we send on those programs, and 27th overall in the nation for sending students on all types of international study abroad programs, including semester and year-long programs. This is the 6th consecutive year that CCSU is placed in the national rankings, and no other Connecticut institution of higher education has placed as highly. And that's something I think we can all be proud of and experiences that our students definitely need. I want to thank our new director in advance for his work on moving towards our goal of 1,000 students a year, Dr. Momar Ndiaye, who you see there. Lisa Bigelow, our associate director, and Aaron Beecher, the international education coordinator. The CCSU School of Business was awarded accreditation by the AACSB, that is the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business. CCSU is only the second public university in Connecticut to earn this accreditation and is one of only 687 in the world. So I thank Patty Root, our current dean, C-Mac Sojai, our past dean, and all of the School of Business, faculty and staff that work so diligently to accomplish that. Good job. We officially opened our new Confucius Institute, which is the only one in Connecticut. It provides gateways for educational, cultural, and business opportunities between Connecticut and mainland China. The Institute will offer study abroad opportunities, student scholarships, academic exchanges, teacher training, and a summer language camp in China, as well as after-school programs for at-risk youth in New Britain. And I recognize Steve Kliger, the director of the center where this is housed, for all of his work, and Mei Zhang Chao, the Confucius Institute assistant director from here at CCSU, and Professor Tony Ma, the Confucius Institute associate director from our partner institution in this, Shandong Normal University. And I also want to add a word of thanks to Ms. Carolyn Mannion for all of her legal counsel work on what was a very, very difficult contract to get negotiated between the state of Connecticut and the Chinese government. Thank you. The C.J. Huang family, thank you. The C.J. Huang family bequeathed a gift of $6.5 million to the university. It's the largest single bequest in Central history, and the gift will benefit the existing Huang Scholarship Fund and establish new scholarship funds to students in the CCSU Schools of Business, Education and Professional Studies, and Graduate Studies, along with the existing Carol Amen scholarships and the Beecham endowment. All 5 of our schools will have access to a major source of funds to support students. And that's critically important as students deal constantly with the issue of being able to afford their education. To show you how long things like this take, the original contracts on this were made by President Shoemaker. So you don't get $6.5 million in 6.5 weeks. Takes a long time. Takes a lot of effort by a lot of people, and I would thank Dick Judd, Chris Galligan, and Nick Patanico, and many, many others for all of their work on this marvelous gift. The School of Business has launched the MBA program, or should I say relaunched. Classes begin this week with 82 students currently registered in the program. That's a terrific start in a first year. Well done. The program is designed for mid-career professionals, and it's distinctive in that it offers 3 different tracks. There's an emphasis in accounting, an emphasis in business analytics, and a more self-created kinds of a combination major that students can work with their advisors to put together. And I want to recognize Jason Schneider and Mark Sestouli, both associate professors in the MIS department, for all their work, as well as Dean Root again, and past Dean Seamak Sojai. Thank you all for your work on that project. U.S. News and World Report has named Central Connecticut State University as one of the top regional universities in the country for serving military veterans. Based on the quality of service for veterans, CCSU was ranked 34th nationally. And I recognize Dr. Laura Tordente, Ray Hernandez, Chris Gutierrez, and Nicole Spencer for all of their work in helping support our veterans who have given so much to us, and we in turn are trying to support them in gaining their education. We established a School of Engineering, Science, and Technology, the only one so configured and named in the state of Connecticut. And I would recognize Provost Lovett, Dean Malhas, and Dean Peace, and all of the department chairs who worked to bring this together. It's a very important milestone for the university, and I think it will enable us to compete for a number of different types of funding and awards. We obtained the Board of Regents approval for a new MS, master's degree, in STEM education, and I would recognize Professors Marcia Bednarski and Jim DeLaura for their work on developing this program. The Amen School of Arts and Sciences has a resharpened focus now that we have made some of these changes. And the class that is College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences is something that we hope will emanate from this realignment. We will be requesting a renaming from the Board of Regents, recognizing our commitment to a liberal education and the broad support that a College of Education, a College of Professional Studies is provided by the work in the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. The School of Education and Professional Studies offers our only doctoral degree through the graduate school. To date, we have awarded 97 ed doctorate degrees at Central. We'll soon cross the 100 mark with finishing members from the cohort of 2000 that entered in 2011. And the school is now working on a modification of the program for students with emphases in higher education practice, which I think will be a very popular addition to the courses. We began the Red Flag campaign, which is a public awareness campaign designed to address dating violence and promote prevention of dating violence on the campus. It's using a bystander intervention strategy, encouraging friends and other campus community members to say something when they see warning signs for dating violence. My thanks to Rosa Rodriguez, The co-chairs of this effort, Jacqueline Cobina-Bovin and Nicholas D'Agostino, and all of the many students who worked on this program. We broke ground on the first new residence hall on this campus in 20 years. The 8-story, $82.3 million hall will house well over 600 students when it opens at this time next fall. It will also enable CCSU to be a more effective steward of the state's funds by being able to take out one at a time the existing residence halls to renovate and refurbish those and bring the quality of those up to a competitive standard via deferred maintenance and renovation. And I want to thank Charlene Casamento, Richard Beishu, Laura Tordenti, and Jean Alejandro for all of their work. And this has been a long, long path, 20 years, as I said, since we built one. So it's been a long trail. Paired with that will be the new dining facility. So we will have 2 places in which students can dine, one here at Memorial, which will allow us to redo that, and one up the hill. That is essentially facing towards the picture, the dining facility that's facing towards Gallaudet, cut into the side of the hill by the parking lot at the lacrosse football stadium track area over there. So you can kind of get a visual of how that will sit. So the glass side that you're seeing there is looking out through the woods towards the residence halls. We're going to greatly expand by building a new building on the front of and renovate the existing Barnard Hall for the School of Education, so that we will have a lot of new space that is very usable, some brand new construction and some total renovation construction for the School of Education and Professional Studies. The Huang Center, serving recreation, instruction primarily in physical education, and in athletics, will essentially be a replacement of the bubble. As some of you may recall, some of us not very fondly, the bubble has been out of commission at least twice over the last 3.5 years. Once by what was considered to be a Halloween prank, and once by a prank of nature with the ice storm bringing it down. That has got to be replaced with better and more usable space for everyone, and the gift from the Huang family will also partially help to develop that facility. We will be building a new engineering building, which will enable the entire renovation of Copernicus, which will then house all of the sciences. So engineering will be in one building, sciences in another building, although they're under the same school. And that will be over here between the library and the existing parking garage in that small lot next to the parking garage. And the Willard and DiLoretto renovation, which is now well under planning. Now that the social sciences building is complete and has been open for a year, the Willard and DiLoretto complex moves ahead with planning and engineering soon to begin on that construction. So you can see many of the greatest accomplishments that took place during the last year aren't necessarily driven by goals and a plan. Some of them are. Some important ones are. Facilities is part of a plan. But there was no goal or plan that said we were going to have the President of the United States on this campus the year before the President of the United States came. So there are all kinds of serendipitous victories that all of you have every day in your classrooms, in your research labs, in the library. And so while our plans are important, there are many, many things. I would never want to limit what we view as our accomplishments to a narrow list of specific goals. Together, we've made a lot of progress on the plan, and the plan for CCSU, which hopefully you all have with you in your pockets currently, or at least have immediate access to. But we made a lot of progress on that plan, and that's because, and I'll use the word again, it's because of our culture. It's because you decided to make progress. That's how we make progress here. We decide to do things and then we do them. And you have done that in many, many ways. So I'm going to refresh your memory ever so slightly. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm going to refresh your memory as to the nature of what's in this plan. And it's made up of 47 goals. That number changes from year to year because sometimes we modify the goals, we reach a goal, we raise the goal. But there's 47 specific goals, and each one of them is in the same format, contains the same information. So it begins with the objective itself. I'm just going to use the examples from objective 2.7. The objective is to improve safety, health, and security on the campus. That's how each one of these starts, every one of the 47. Then there's an origin from past plans. This really isn't so important anymore, but when we first started doing this 8 years ago, people were saying, well, what did you just invent this yesterday yourself? Is this your idea? But no, these have been around. They've come from many different places. Then each one has the method of measurement. Not all of them are quantitative, but many of them are. And it shows specifically how that objective is measured. This one happens to be from the Noel Levitt Student Satisfaction Inventory, the mean score from the section on safety and security. Then there's the baseline data and the baseline year. In this case, 4.81 from the baseline year of 204 to 05. The goal was to meet or exceed the average for 4-year public institutions. That current average is 4.9. And our score, progress, our score is 5.0. So 0.2 of a point going up may not seem like a lot to you, and it certainly could be more. But remember, this is on a very small scale. So 0.2 of a point is a substantive amount. And it took us from below the mean for regional public university comprehensives to above the mean. And then every one of these has a list, a subsection, a list of enabling activities. It's not a comprehensive, exhaustive list of everything we're doing, but it gives a flavor of some of the things we're trying to do to accomplish that goal. So with that in mind, let's take a look at just a handful, a small handful, of the specific objectives and the accomplishments that all of you have created. Let's start with objective 1.3. The objective is, following a well-thought-out strategy, increase the number of courses that incorporate educational technology to promote student engagement, learning, and academic success, including developing hybrid, blended learning, and online courses and degree programs. When we began measuring this in 05-06, we had 53 such courses. Our goal was to have 100. Last year we had 188. So we made a great deal of progress there. Is there more room? Obviously, as technology explodes, there is more and more and more room to do this, but the progress has been excellent. Objective 2.2, improve the 6-year graduation rate for first-time full-time students. And you've heard me talk about this so many times. In 05-06, our graduation rate was 40%. That was bad. Wasn't okay, it wasn't mediocre, it was bad. And we set about to change that. And we set a goal of 52%, which is good. At or above the average for regional public institutions of our type. And last year, and in fact the year before, it was 52%. Is there more work to do? Sure. But that's tremendous progress. To raise the graduation rate by 12% is something that happened not because of a whole bunch of plans, they helped, but because you decided to make it happen. Because we have a culture of success, and you decided to help students join that culture of success and succeed. By the way, as I tell students all the time when I talk to high school students, I say, we say our graduation rate is 52%. Here's the problem. Nobody 52% graduates. You either graduate or you don't. Your graduation rate will be 0 or 100%. That's all there is. So you make sure you're in the 100%. That's how we get to 52, is by you getting in the 100. That's how that happens. And when people go, oh, well, that's just a number, that's just bean counting, you're spending your time. If you think it's just bean counting, ask the 150 students a year, 150 students a year, that earn a bachelor's degree now at CCSU that would not have earned it at our rate of 40%. Ask them if it's just bean counting. Ask their families if it didn't matter. We set out with a goal to improve faculty and staff satisfaction. In 207-208, our Noel Levitt's mean score on the satisfaction items was 59%. Our goal is 100% employee satisfaction. That may be an unattainable goal. You may say that's silly, nothing is 100%, but it's our goal. And we will continue to push towards that. Now I have to say, if those of you that were here, and I think back to my first year or two, we didn't start in a very good place. It was pretty easy to get better from where we were then. There was a lot of discord, a lot of disharmony. I remember people having regular meetings about how to fire me. But we made a lot of progress. 81% from 59% is tremendous improvement, and we will continue to work to make those improvements. Objective 6.4, increase the value of the endowment. In 2005, the value of the endowment was a little over $18 million. We set a goal of 40. That is more than doubling the value of the endowment. Today, the value of the endowment is $53.7 million. Well more than double. Good work. Why is that important? Because most of the money in the endowment goes towards scholarships for students to help them defray increasing costs, or to be able to go on an international learning experience, or to be able to do other things within the university that they could not have afforded to do otherwise. So it's critically important, and I definitely want to thank, I can't name everyone because this is an effort that has involved faculty and staff, and students have been engaged in this process via the telethon and other ways, but all of the people in institutional advancement, including Dr. Galligan, the leader of advancement, and all the people there have done a marvelous job in working hard to build that number, and we will continue to build that number. He may not want to hear that, but we will grow that number. And the last one of the objectives I want to mention in terms of success was objective 7.1, to increase the square footage of academic space for classrooms, laboratories, faculty offices, library and research, and student support. And you can see, largely through the opening of the new social sciences building, that we have made tremendous progress, going up by a little over 80,000 square feet. That will continue to grow as we add these other facilities. So, as with any good plan, there are things where you succeed and there are things where you don't succeed. If we succeed on every goal, then my simple response is we aren't trying things that are hard enough. If we never fail, then we're just picking out things that are too easy to do. There's nothing wrong with failure. Somehow in this country, failure has gotten a bad name. Everybody's got to get a trophy every year. Everybody's got to win everything. No, that's not the way the world is. We can succeed, we will succeed, and where we haven't succeeded, we will continue to work towards success. Because it's our culture. And if you set up a culture where failing is a terrible thing, then you can't expect people to succeed. You have to be willing to try things and recognize that they don't all work. There's a lot of quotes about this, but one of my favorite ones comes from Babe Ruth. He said, every strike puts me that much closer to the next home run. So, will we have problems? Sure. So let's talk about a couple of things very briefly that need work. Objective 2.1, improve the retention rate for first-time full-time students between their freshman and sophomore year. The base rate in 205-06 was 80%. We set a goal of raising it by 5%. Have we? No. We haven't even stayed the same. We've gone down to 77%. And it's not for not trying. We've had pre-college programs and advisement center processes and first-year experiences and every other thing that everybody else in the world has ever tried. But we've got to re-examine those and see why they're not getting the job done. It's pretty amazing, by the way, that the graduation rate keeps going up while the retention rate has gone down. That's not a common phenomenon, so something's going on. And we need to do a better job of finding out what it is and correcting that so we have more room to grow the graduation rate. We need to keep more students in order to graduate more students. Objective 3.4, increase the opportunity for on-campus work for students. In 05-06, we had 887 student employees. Last year, we had 812. And in the meantime, that number went up, so it's come down a fair ways. We were up to close to our goal of 1,000. And now it's come back down. I saw an email from Janice Palmer saying now's the time to start thinking about employing students. We need to employ students. You're going to see a few in a couple of minutes that we have employed and have done a marvelous job. And finally, objective 3.5, create and build a magnet high school with the mission of 100% post-secondary participation for the graduates. We need to revive that goal. That's not a numerical goal. No. We need to revive that goal because it's not a numerical goal, which is why there's no numbers up there. It's a goal that can be led by our School of Education and Professional Studies, but with participation from the entire campus. A secondary program can well fit within that. So when we look ahead at the progress we've made, look back at the progress we've made, and then examine the future, one of the things we have to guard against, we've had so many successes, and you have done such a good job on so many things, that we have to be careful not to start resting on our laurels. It's very tempting to say, well, we've got that done now. You know, that graduation rate goes up, it can go down too. So we can't rest on our laurels. We have to push on ahead and get more things accomplished. But boy, it's seductive to say, man, we've done a good job. Let's sit back and take it easy for a while. We got to avoid that temptation. Oscar Wilde said it very well. He said, I can resist anything but temptation. So we've accomplished a lot, and there's a lot left to do. Now I want to make a point about the intersect that we have of the goals and objectives that we all work on. And sometimes I talk about a plan for CCSU. Sometimes I talk about Transform 2020. Sometimes I talk about various different accreditation groups. We have lots of masters and lots of goals. Fortunately, they're not all different. So, we'll never lose focus on these. I will talk a bit about Transform 2020, simply to say the initiatives that are contained in Transform 2020, the systemic plan, are hard to deny in terms of their value. It's easy to sit back and talk in generalities about, well, I don't know, this isn't gonna, but in reality, it's pretty hard to pick anything out in there and go, well, that's a bad idea. Who wants to graduate more students? The initiatives are pretty clear, and they make sense. And we need a plan to get more resources. That's been clear. President Gray's made it clear, the governor's made it clear, others have made it clear. We need to go in with a clear and articulate plan that says this is what we're gonna do for the state. And it's gonna cost this much to do it. So my basic advice is don't sit back and spend all your time thinking up potential pitfalls of what might possibly be wrong. It takes too much time. Winston Churchill said, I'm always a big Winston Churchill fan. I don't usually tell people this, but because he's my namesake, or I'm his. Because my middle name is Winston. That's what the W stands for. I don't like to tell people that, but I love Winston Churchill and reading books about him. But Winston Churchill said one time, a pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. And we've got a lot of opportunities. Central is strongly engaged and involved in 2020. Brian Summers is the Project Management Office Lead for Transform CCSU 2020. He's been hired full-time by the System Office for the coming year to coordinate implementation of Transform. Stephen Cohen, who you heard from just a few moments ago. Stephen is the liaison to Transform CCSU 2020 process. Stephen Adair is the initiative leader on faculty skill and development, as well as a BOR member who sits in review of these efforts. And Candace Barrington is the initiative leader on seamless wide transfer, very important, and she will be hired for the year, has been hired for the year as well. So it's a good plan, and you're gonna have plenty of chances to react to it. There are things you don't like about it, figure out what they are and ask the questions. The first one, as Stephen said a little while ago, is on September 9th at 3 o'clock in Torp. Got concerns? Show up and voice them. Things you like about it, show up and say that. So, that's a second master. A third master is that several years ago, during this meeting, I set forth the similarities and the differences between some exceptional regional public universities and CCSU. I said, we want to be exceptional. We don't want to just survive. We don't want to even just thrive. We want to be exceptional. So I picked at my selection, no formal methodology, Boise State, Cal Poly, Pomona, East Carolina, George Mason, James Madison, Illinois State, Indiana State, Northern Illinois, and Old Dominion. And we looked at their demographics and we looked at ours. That produced a set of goals. So I guess the simple way to put this is we're used to lots of different sets of goals and objectives and working on them. Are these three plans in opposition? No. They're all made up of reasonable, important goals, and the goals are more similar than they are different. Following one plan doesn't mean ignoring the others. Let me illustrate this just briefly with a diagram. There's a bunch of abbreviations of goals just scattered around. Up on top, improve service for veterans, increase the number of courses incorporating technology. Lower right, increase the number of graduate students in ratio to undergraduate. These aren't all our goals, but they're just some goals scattered around. Now let's take a look at what happens when we encompass some of those goals with Transform CSCU 2020. Those goals are embedded in the initiatives in Transform. Are all of them in there? Not necessarily. There isn't a specifically worded one about 6-year graduation rate. So there's some things that are in that Transform, and there's some things that aren't. Now let's look at Plan for CCSU. Part of the things that are in 2020 are in Plan for CCSU. As an example, increase the number of courses incorporating technology. Some aren't. Now let's take a look at being an exceptional regional public. Some of the things are in there, some aren't. Some are in all three. Increasing the value of the endowment shows up in all of those plans. So we're used to working on lots of different things at the same time. I wouldn't get concerned, or I wouldn't get worried about that. We're going to work on the things that are the most important to us. Are we going to get every single thing done that's in here every year? No. Are we going to get every single thing done every year that's in Transform? No. But we're going to work on the things that are most relevant to us. And there's good in that, and we need to remember our culture of success. So, as we begin to draw towards conclusion today, I want to examine one single goal. It happens to be a goal that's in Transform 2020, and it happens to be a goal that's part of becoming an exceptional regional, but it's not found in here, which I find is pretty ironic, because we spent the entire last year talking about increasing enrollment. Not there. Does it need to be? Yeah. We spent a whole year, and we're going to spend some more time working on it. So we need to clarify our goal, but it's not there now. So let's look at what's happened. The last 2 years, previous year and last year, our enrollment declined. It cost us money. It cost us helping students. It cost us a whole number of things. And I said last year at this meeting, it's going to take us this next year to bottom out that decline. But we will do it. And then it's going to take us another 2 years to climb back up the hill. And we'll do that. And we'll do it because we have a culture here of success and doing the things we say we're going to do. So now, let's take a look and see if that enrollment decline bottomed out. On the left-hand side, you'll see Central. On the other, and I'm not trying to hold up and be critical of our colleague institutions. So the other three together, in other words, minusing out Central, the other three together. This is from date-to-date enrollment from last Friday, the most recent data that we have. I was hoping that percentage of change would be 0, 0, 0. That was our goal. Bottom out the decline. Instead, we're up by 74 full-time students, up a handful of part-time students, up by, so close to a percentage point increase. Now, we only lost about 3.5 points over the 2 years. Remember, every point is a lot of resources. So not only has that bottomed out, but it started back up. And why did we stop the decline? Because you decided to stop the decline. Provost did, deans did, chairs did, faculty did, Student affairs did, financial aid did, admissions did, and we're moving forward now on a lot of fronts to build that number back up. And we will. For the same reason as we stop the decline, because we choose to. And one of the ways that we're moving forward, you're going to hear about right now. We've been working on many fronts. We've reallocated resources to programs of greater student demand. We've built new programs. We've expanded recruitment efforts. And we're in the process of developing a new marketing plan based on the information generated from the work done at the system level by our consultants. And this plan has been built by our very best resource on this campus, our students. If I wanted to think of what would appeal to students in terms of what an old white guy thinks, I'd ask myself. That's not what I want to know. I want to know what will appeal to our prospective students. And so we gathered together some of our very best students from communications, from business marketing, from English, and from various areas, hired them on a part-time basis, and they've been working from spring and across the summer. And I'm going to mention them, and then I'm going to turn it over to them as we draw towards the final part of this program. Haley Beam, Allison Bober, Jenna D'Amico, Van Boy, Therese Marcellinus, Fatima Mian, Michael Morin, Brian Friedman, Adam Tulloch, David Brandt, Teresa Parmeshwaran, and Angela Ventura. The three students that will be representing them and giving you a brief explanation of the marketing and advertising program that you will see beginning very, very shortly, like within a few days, will be Haley, Tina, and Adam. So would you come on up?
First off, we would like to thank President Miller for giving us this opportunity. An opportunity to create a campaign like this is something that will not happen in our lives till after we establish our careers. This is such a unique opportunity for us all to take on the task of increasing overall enrollment at CCSU. Secondly, we want to thank Mark McLaughlin for being such an outstanding supervisor this summer.
When the 12 of us originally got together to design this advertising campaign, we quickly learned about all of our diverse opinions, which led us to learn we were once part of the larger target market of high school seniors choosing their future college. However, taking these different opinions and putting them together seemed easy at first, but by the second day, this was proven to be a challenge. After all, how could we take all of our different opinions and boil them down to one campaign? This led us to really explore why we ourselves came to Central. Initially, we stuck to the main reasons: its affordability, its location, and overall excellence. Under further examination, we realized that this project was a reflection of why we were here, which is to broaden our experience, meet new people, and to excel not only inside but outside of the classroom.
Personally, we grew a lot when we realized the importance of the tools that we were taught inside the classroom. After all, by working in the real world, we now understand why you need a brainstorming process, SWOT analysis, creative brief, and overall marketing plan. These tools kept us on track this summer to develop these executions to their greatest potential.
This campaign has also shown a reflection of our time here at CCSU, that we can have that flexibility to explore and create our interests. During our time in these meetings, we were challenged to look at the weaknesses we saw at CCSU. We were more challenged by identifying them instead of trying to solve them.
As a result from our own studies from the target audience, they yearn for a great campus life. A high school senior's academics are important, but their experience is just as important. With that fact, we decided to capitalize on the joy of being a Blue Devil. We created billboards as well as interior and exterior bus advertisements. And each one of them would show each academic programs we offer at CCSU. We plan on taking it a step further by doing mall advertisements advertisements, television spots, and using social media to gain the attention of our target audience. With the help of the popular social media app Vine, we were able to throw an event that drew in the attention of high school students with the possibility of 3 million views online.
So now we are going to share with you some of our executions. Starting with our billboard, we decided to use the Blue Devil to capture prospective students' eyes and use the tagline of "Earn Your Horns" to give them a feeling of being able to work for something. Using the phrase horns, we are again true to the theme of being a Blue Devil.
Our billboard will also be used as our exterior bus ad to expand exposure to prospective students across the state. Along with our exterior ads, we will also be having interior ads on buses, which will show a closer look at the academic schools that Central has to offer. Here we have 2 sample ads for the School of Arts and Sciences and the School of Business. There will be ads for the other 2 schools as well.
The one part of this campaign that we are most excited about and put the most effort into were the 2 commercials that we decided to create. Our first commercial to share today will be what we consider our traditional university commercial, which focuses on academics and how you can earn your horns.
See yourself in a place that will expand your world with new possibilities. A place where academic programs encourage you to explore new dimensions of the world and yourself. A place where you can push yourself to become the person you dream of being. A place that will challenge you to excel in the classroom and on the field. Where an extra hour can be the difference between a B and an A, between success and something less. It's a place that will challenge you and help you as you take your dream and make it your future. See yourself at Central Connecticut State University.
With our second commercial, we were inspired by President Miller's challenge to think outside of the box. We chose to use real CCSU students to show our campus diversity, which will help relate to our target market of high school students.
Once again, we want to thank President Miller for this opportunity, along with everyone who made this campaign possible.
Let the whole group stand up and let everybody give you their applause. I'm constantly amazed at the ability of our students, and you did a marvelous job, and it doesn't surprise me at all. We met every 3 weeks, and to see their progress, and I also want to recognize once again, not only for his terrific job supporting these students, but for the terrific job he does for all kinds of things, and for helping put together all of the visuals today. Mark McLaughlin. Mark, thank you so much. Let me conclude by saying that simply, this is not the time in higher education for self-criticism, division, and pessimism. There's plenty of that, and there's plenty of critics on the outside of higher education. We don't need to help them. In fact, I've noticed an amazing thing about those critics. It's almost devised science. Think about it with me, if you will. It seems like everybody, no matter how old they are, whether they're 22 or 82, they got the last good education. After they graduated, everything went down the drain. We're a success story, and we don't want to help them with the negatives. We'll improve by capitalizing on our history and our culture, once again, that word of success. Our culture of success is far more important than any individual goal in any individual plan. We'll change, we'll grow, we'll become even more successful because of our culture of success. We've proved that we can do it together. We can do whatever we have set out to do. Look at the graduation rate. Look at the endowment value. Now look at enrollment. We'll succeed because that's what we do. We succeed. It's our culture at CCSU. And don't underestimate the value of the culture. Peter Drucker, one of the early management consultants in the history of management consultants, said it very concisely and very well. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. We have a culture to succeed. The strategy only comes after the culture of success. So as we leave today, take pride in your work. Help our students succeed. And most of all, have fun. This is glorious work that we do. Thank you.